Let me show you a wee bit of magic. Welcome back to the shop on the channel. Well, not magic really. So I'm back with the side table. There's a previous video, link in the description, of me replacing the top. I didn't really like the way the first top came out, so I made a new top. This is all cherry. I built this many years ago. It has a tiger maple front of the drawer front, and this is some of that magic. Well, I use that word again. This is some of that tiger maple I pick up at Home Depot occasionally when I pick through the maple pile. I run the math real quickly to see if it's cheaper to buy it at my hardware supplier or get it at Home Depot. Depending on the piece, it's cheaper at the Home Depot. So when I first built this, I did the finish, and the tiger maple really didn't pop as much as I wanted it to. So okay, whatever. I put it out in the living room. It's been there for years. But now I'm going to use an old trick, a trick that our ancestors used to pop grain, figured grain on wood, mostly used by gun makers to do tiger maple stocks, but used by furniture makers as well. And that is Aquafortis. What is Aquafortis? Aquafortis is ferric nitrate. You make it, well, I don't make it, but it's made by mixing a 4-to-1 dilution of nitric acid, dropping iron into it, and it'll fizz and warm up and whatever. And when it stops fizzing and it cools off, it's basically eating up all the iron it's going to eat up into the solution. You take it, filter it, and you've got Aquafortis, or ferric nitrate. I bought this from Track of the Wolf. Link in the description. They also have directions how to make it if you want to make it yourself. Not something I'm going to take on. So what do I need to do? I'm going to show you how it works on a piece of tiger maple and what it does and how the grain jumps out at you. So let's get started with that. The first thing I need to do, of course, is to remove the knob and then strip off, get the finish off of here that's on there now. And that's going to involve sanding and scraping to get it down a bit, so I can get most of it off. Hopefully get all of it off. It goes deeper in the vertical grain part of tiger maple than it does in the flat grain. So all of the stripes are the vertical grain of tiger maple, where the maple comes up like this. The grain goes up like this, like a little sinusoidal curve. And at the top of those, you got open grain. On the side, you got closed grain, and that's tiger maple. So first thing to do is get the knob off. The knob is a Sheridan knob, and I got it from Horton Brasses, one of my favorite suppliers. They're not cheap, but they do some of the best period style and period brass pieces that you probably can get. Horton Brasses, and there's one other, and I can't think of their name right now, that I've used in the past. I'm going to clamp it up in the vise, get it nice and tight. The screwdriver in there. There we go. Of course, it comes in two pieces, the knob and the escutcheon, or shield, or whatever you want to call it. Screw that together and put this in out of harm's way, as it were, so I don't lose it or it doesn't wind up somewhere where it shouldn't be. Now, you can see what the front looked like when I first put it in the living room. And it's oxidized, like most wood will, to this darker finish. So now I got to start removing the existing finish. Now, this is going to be a bit of a thing, okay? And I'm going to start with some coarse sandpaper and then go progressively finer in the sandpaper. And then when I'm done with the sandpaper, I'm going to take a scraper to it to give you that nice, very smooth finish. So let's get busy with that. That'll probably be a time lapse with some music behind it because it takes time. Slight change of plan. I've got my extremely low angle Veritas plane. The iron is down at just a hair's breadth below the surface of the plane foot bottom, and I'm just going to gently come across this with this to get the majority of the finish off. Cut the grain, and then I'm going to come back with sandpaper to sand it and to scrape it. So let's do this. I hate that line in movies. as you can see, is pretty clean. I got some spots I got to do some sanding on, of course. I'm going to do the rest in sanding because I don't want to take too much of the wood off. I might work on this spot one more time. Turn around. Okay, so now it's going to be the sanding part. I'm going to use the random orbital starting with 150. I'm going to go up to 320, and then we'll scrape it to get it nice and smooth. Again, cue the time lapse. Before I demonstrate how to use the Aquafortis on my piece of tiger maple, let's take a look at some pictures. These are Golden Age flintlock rifle replicas. Golden Age, late 18th, early 19th century flintlocks. They have tiger maple stocks, obviously, and it's been made to pop with the Aquafortis. These are all from Kibler Longrifles out in Ohio. I've been following his work for quite a while, and I've always wanted a flintlock rifle in my collection, and so one of his kits is probably in my future. The other thing I'm going to do to this table is I'm going to cut the surface of the table with some 320. It's got a little bit of roughness to it that I'm not happy with. So I'm going to cut it with 320, and then I'm going to use paste wax on it. Now I'm introducing you and myself to a new paste wax that I bought from a friend of mine, but I've never used. So let's get busy making the magic. And now to get started. Now the first step that they recommend, this is the track of the wolf instructions, is to raise the grain 3 times. So I'm going to wet the piece, just give it damp, like that. De-whiskering, they call it. Give it a minute. And then they suggest using a heat source, more on that later for something else, to dry it to raise the grain. So I've got a heat gun, put it on low. There you go. That's dry, and then use 4/0 steel wool to take off the fuzzies. Fuzzies are off, and then a little bit more water. Do it again, twice. Glassy smooth. All right, so next, now the stuff. Going to apply this with a cotton rag and gloves, because acid after all. I have my cotton, 100% cotton, padding thing. Let me put this on a piece of wood in case it spills. Don't want to have an issue with that. Now, you'll see some interesting chemical effects when I do this. I'll bring the camera up closer so you can see what it looks like. Do you ever have one of those days where you kind of do dumbass stuff and you realize later you did the dumbass stuff? So I went through the whole process of putting the Aquafortis on the drawer front and doing the magic, and the camera wasn't on. What the hell is wrong with you, Kevin? Okay, not to worry. I've got another piece of tiger maple from the same source here, which I've sanded and scraped, and I'm going to demonstrate the Aquafortis staining process on this, and then I'll show you the result on the drawer front. So let's get busy again. And here we go. So what you see here is, your typical tiger maple grain. Like the drawer front you didn't get to see. So let's take the Aquafortis. I've already done everything I did before, which is to raise the grain and all that. So you take the Aquafortis and you pat it on to your maple. Give it a good coat, a little bit more, and this will start turning a funny color of green. This actually has a little bit more a figure than the other piece. And again, this is from Home Depot, so deal with it. So there it is. It's in place, and it's turning color. But as it dries, it turns more of a greenish color. Now I can go right into it now, and here's the secret: the heat gun. Once you have the Aquafortis on your workpiece, and it's soaked in, you apply heat, and that's what changes the color. Now, in the old days, they'd hold it up to the fireplace and it's the fire and get the heat. Now, this is going to turn like 3 different colors as we go through this process. So let's turn the heat gun on, and I'll start. It's going to go different colors till it gets to the brown. There's more green coming out now. You can see it in the camera. And it's becoming a little muddled. There, it's got that darkish grayish green color now, which is typical. And as I continue to apply heat, it'll brown up. You see it's starting to brown up now? The color's starting to pop, or the grain is starting to pop, and the greenish gray tone is going away. There, we'll do one side. And this is how you tune it. You can actually tune it by either applying more heat or stopping here. So if I was to apply more heat here, it'll start to darken even more. The vertical grain is going to do the darkening. So there you've got dark, lighter, and then just the Aquafortis. You see that in camera? So this is the trick, heat, and it pops that grain unbelievably. So now let's look at the drawer that I didn't get on camera. So here's the drawer now. You see the popping of the grain? How beautiful that is? Now, the next trick is what really brings it out and it enhances it dramatically. There's light in here. There you go. See? Pop your grain. So the next trick, and I'll also coat this one as well, is to apply boiled linseed oil. That'll pop the grain even further. And once that cures, we can go ahead and put a harder finish on. Although I could leave the boiled linseed oil after it cures on there as well. So let's do that. Now to put some linseed oil on it. And you don't really need gloves for linseed oil. Heck, it's made out of flaxseed. And you can eat flaxseed in your salad. A little piece. There we go. More like it. Roll it up into a little ball. Here we are. See? Now we're going to dip it, and rub this in nice, smooth, and deep. I don't know if you can see what's happening in the camera, but I'll bring it up to the camera, of course. I'm going to really wet this out very nicely. And get it so it's shiny wet. And let's do this piece across this piece. You can see the difference in temperature thing, the heat gun stuff. Okay, we'll keep rubbing this in. Okay, let that sit for just a little bit and give it and there it is. What do you think? Nice fit, nice jumpy tiger maple? Yeah. This is more shouty, I know, to put it in Jeremy Clarkson's words, if you know who he is or was or is. And there's the piece of test wood that I did as well. You see the differences there. So this, I'm going to put about three more coats of linseed oil on this, and then possibly a coat of shellac, just to give it a little bit more sheen. Now the next step, the last step, the quickie step, is going to be cleaning up the top of the tabletop, and then giving it a light sanding and put some paste wax on. This is a brand new paste wax. It's a friend of mine makes it, and I'll link in the description. So let's get started on that, and then we'll end this video. Now the last bit, 320 on a semi-soft pad, and I'm just going to knock it down a little bit, give it take a little bit of the roughness off the surface, and then we're going to paste wax it. So in the direction of the grain, just do this. I'm not pressing down much at all. Letting the sandpaper do the work. And feeling it with my hands. And then it's smoothing out nicely. Yeah, there. That's nice and smooth. Now, what am I going to do? Let's wipe it off. Get the dust off it. I'm going to be using, this is a new product for me. It's made by a local guy, Matt Cottrill. Matt is a woodworker and antique tool dealer. I think he's the president of the local patina chapter, but I'm not sure. And he makes his own paste wax, and I'm going to give it a shot. I've used a variety of paste wax over the years, as we all have. And I'm just, oh my, that smells good. So, get some on the cloth. There we go. And just give it a rub. This is the stuff you wipe it on, and you let it sit, and then you buff it off. Okay, I'll let that dry for a bit, and then we'll buff it off, and we'll be done. Oh, link in the description to Matt's website and his store. If you need to buy any, I bought a couple of some antique tools from him that I'm actually going to use, and trust him, he comes along with good stuff. Now that is just about perfect. The paste wax worked very, very well. Highly recommend. I should have maybe let it sit for a little bit longer, but it's really buffing up nicely. It's got not a very bright sheen. I like not matte finishes, but I like semi-gloss finishes, or slightly less than semi-gloss finishes. I think I've stated that a few times on this channel. So, this table is now done. I can go put it back in the this part anyway, because I'm still working on the front of the drawer, but this can go back into the living room. So, another project under my belt, another project on the channel. So, until next time, make great things out of wood, and get some Aquafortis and try that. That's some amazing stuff. I'm going to try it on other figured woods later. We shall see. Until next time, see ya.